Hi Nancy, I'm going to show you how to make cookie dough. This is the first part in the process, okay? So first of all, overnight, you're going to want to take out of the refrigerator 2 sticks of unsalted butter, okay? They want to be kind of room temperature when you're working with them. You're going to need 1 egg that does not need to be room temperature, 1 cup of granulated sugar, 3 cups of flour approximately, and we'll talk about that in a minute. A half a teaspoon of salt, iodized salt, and you're gonna need 3 teaspoons of extract, okay? I'm mixing lemon and vanilla in this case. I use all kinds of flavors. It really just depends, okay? You're also gonna need some parchment paper, and I can loan you some, or not loan it to you, I will give you some if you actually wanna make some while I'm here, or even when I'm not here. We're gonna leave a whole bunch of it so you can come and get it whenever you want. All right, and you'll need a mixer and a bowl, okay? I actually use a glass bowl at home. I don't have a nice big glass bowl here, so we're just gonna try this and see how it goes. The important thing is the texture of the dough. And you'll know when it's right, okay? And I'll try to demonstrate that as we go through this, all right? So the first thing is you wanna cream the butter and the sugar. So like I said, it's 2 sticks. These are basically like shortbread cookies, but they're perfect for making decorated cookies and having them the texture and the flatness and the consistency that you want, okay? So 2 sticks of butter, okay, and 1 cup of sugar. So you start, oh, and I personally put in the half teaspoon of salt while I'm doing this, okay? So, hang on for a minute. I'm just gonna put that in. Yeah. Okay. And then you wanna beat that until it's, you know, kind of consistency of, you know, all the butter is mixed in, okay? And I'll show that to you in a minute. I'm not gonna bore you with that right now. I'm gonna stop the video and then I'll start it again when I'm done with that. Okay, I'm back, and you can see that all the butter and the sugar is mixed. It's kind of like in a little balls, okay? And next, I'm just gonna add the egg and the 3 teaspoons of, well, let's do it. I'm gonna add the egg. So we're gonna crack that egg, just dump that in. Okay, and then like I said, I like to sometimes mix flavorings, so I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons of, where's my teaspoon? Yeah, 2 teaspoons of lemon in this case, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. This is a little bit more than many recipes say, but I have found that it makes them taste better when you use a full tablespoon of, or 3 teaspoons, which is the same, of flavoring, okay? All right, so I'm going to mix that now, and then I'll show you that consistency, and then I'll come back, okay? I'm back. I am back. And at this point, the butter and the eggs and the extract all have kind of like almost like a whipped texture, okay? And you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. I do it for like about maybe 90 seconds of beating, okay? You just need to play it by ear, okay? Next, I'm gonna add 3 cups of flour, okay? I have found that generally 3 cups of flour is the right amount. Sometimes based on the temperature, the weather, like if it's more humid or the butter is a lot softer, sometimes you need a little more flour, but you just wanna make sure that the dough balls up and it gets into this texture where you can form a nice ball, like a nice, the texture is just perfect for forming a ball, and I will show you that. And you'll know it because the dough mixture itself starts to ball up, okay? So I just literally, some people do a little bit at a time. Not me, I just throw it all in, okay? All right, and then I'm just gonna mix it, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna stop the video, but I am gonna show you the texture because this is important and you wanna have it at the right texture before you start rolling it out, okay? So I will be right back, and all I'm doing is just mixing it at this point. I'm back. That probably probably took me about 2 to 2.5 minutes, maybe even 3, to get this to the consistency that I wanted. So I'm gonna show you, okay? I'm gonna try to show you. See how it's sort of like all like little like granulated balls, but you'll almost start to see that the butter starts to get softer, and that's kind of what you want, so that you're able to form 2 big balls, okay? So we are now at the point where I'm gonna form 2 big balls and put them into the parchment paper. Now this is the key. You know how you asked me how I get my cookies flat? This is the key right here. So let me kind of make sure I have space. You're gonna wanna obviously have space on your counter. And you're gonna get a pair of scissors, okay? And you're gonna have 2 very large sheets of parchment paper. They come this size, okay? And I have 2 of them. And I am basically gonna, not basically, I am going to cut them in half. All right, because we're gonna make, in this case, when we make a full batch of cookies, we have 2 big balls, and we're gonna make balls, and then we're gonna, use a rolling pin, and we're gonna make it very, very flat and as even thickness as possible. Okay, so at this point, we now have 2 sets of parchment paper, and I'm going to lay them down here. Okay, and then we're gonna take 2, and we're gonna put those to the side, because those are gonna be used for the top, okay? And you'll understand in a minute, all right? So, put everything out of the way. Like I said, you want a nice, neat area, and you're going to make sure your hands are clean, of course, okay? And I just separate the dough pretty much in half, okay? And I am going to, you wanna make sure it's consistency where it actually forms a nice ball, okay? So here we are. We're creating the first ball, and you can see how, even though it looked kind of, you know, ball, like granular or whatever inside the bowl, it was really ready to be formed into a nice, soft kind of ball. So it looks like this, like a dough, and you put one on one of the parchment papers, okay? And now I'm gonna create the other one. Try to make them as even as possible. If you notice that one is like a little bigger than the other, then just take some dough and put it on the other one. You kind of want them as even as possible, so that when you're cutting out your shapes, they're about the same thickness, okay? And you can play around with it. You'll generally know, all right? This is pretty good, all right? So now I have my 2 dough balls, right? All right, and they're each on a sheet of parchment paper. Let me move this back so you can see what I'm doing, okay? Let me grab the rolling pin. Sorry about the noise. I should have gotten that out ahead of time. I'm just not an expert at doing videos. Okay, rolling pin. Some people buy a rolling pin that literally has a thing on the side that shows exactly how thick your dough is, and it kind of makes it perfect. I'm thinking about getting one, but I don't have one, and it's fine, you don't need one. So you put the other piece of parchment paper on top of the dough, okay? This is key. All right, so your dough is kind of in the center, and then you put the other parchment paper on top, okay? You just kind of flatten it down a little bit. I'm gonna put one to the side so you can see what I am doing. And this is the key, all right? So you just kind of flatten it down, and then you're gonna take your rolling pin, and slowly, you're just gonna start rolling it out, okay? So you can see what I'm doing here. Now, that top sheet is gonna, you know, move around a little bit, so you just wanna, you know, keep playing with it, make sure the top sheet stays centered. You don't wanna put wrinkles into the paper, because then you'll have wrinkles in your dough. And you just sort of play with it so that you're going from the center of the dough out to the sides of the parchment paper, okay? It's almost like you're rolling, like, I guess, I don't really cook pies or stuff, but it's almost like you're probably rolling pie dough, okay? So you're starting from the center, and you're slowly going out, okay? You want to keep the dough probably about 1/8 to 1/4 inch. I don't know. I don't make super thick cookies. You saw the cookies. Well, the cookies that I gave you guys, that's how thick I make them. If it's a very delicate cutter, then you want to make the cookie thicker because they break, especially if you're shipping them somewhere. Okay, so at this point, I need to go a little bit further. Usually the dough almost fills out, not quite, the dough doesn't quite, but it almost fills out the sheet of parchment paper. Don't worry if the bottom gets a little wrinkled. It's okay. You know, it's just the top. You don't really want wrinkled. Okay, so we kind of have nice, I think I like this. All right, so here we are. First one's done. And I'm gonna do the second one, and then I'm gonna come back and show them both to you, okay? Okay, I'm back, and I've now rolled out both doughs, both of them, okay? And I don't know, I'm gonna try to do this. What it looks like is this. So you can see that it's almost like a big, large, round, well, it's an oval, basically, circle that's nice and flat. And you're gonna leave the parchment paper on top of it, okay? And then I have my second one, very similar, where it's nice and flat. And I'm just gonna put the two on top, and then we're gonna take a tray, okay? Like a cookie tray, I'm gonna get it right now. So I have like not a super large, but like this is the cookie tray, and I will bake them in this as well. But we're just gonna take the parchment paper with the doughs, and they fit perfectly. They actually fit perfectly right inside this tray. And then I'm just gonna put them in the refrigerator, and they're gonna stay there for at least 3 hours because you want the dough to be stiff when you work with it. It just makes the cookies easier to cut and everything. And that's it. It's super easy. I'm now gonna clean up. And then later today, probably later today, I'm gonna cut out the shapes and bake them, and I will make a video on that as well, okay? And then the decorating is where it gets, you know, I'll try to do a video for that too, okay? But anyway, that's stage 1, and we'll see you later for stage 2, okay? Talk to you later, Nancy.